Hey everybody, welcome back to another weekly Slimefun tutorial with your host Boomer. Today we finish up Fluffy Machines Part 3. There are a lot of amazing machines that Fluffy has added to help you with your automation of production of just about anything. There aren't too many items that you can't automate inside of Fluffy. Obviously there are certain add-ons that have add-on specific machinery, but anything that's central to core Slimefun, just about everything can be done. So let's take a look. First thing we're going to start with right off the bat is going to be the manual crank generator. Now, crank generator is not something you use for automation. This is truly a beginning day machine. Let's say you've managed somehow to make a cobble generator, right? And you need to grind that down into gravel. Somehow maybe your team of two, right? Someone's manually punching a skyblock style cobble generator and you need to grind it down into gravel. So you're going to grab your cobble and you're going to put it into an electric ore grinder. Now you'll see nothing's happening, right? We're down 128 joules. It's stuck because we're out of power. So with the ore grinder, we need, if I remember right, it's approximately 12 joules per second. But the crank generator, you simply right click and you'll see that we're actually producing enough power to run the ore grinder. And that is correct, 12 joules per second. So once it gets below, I can simply right click, bring it back up. I can occasionally right click if I want. Ultimately, like I said, if you're got a friend working on something, you can hold down your right click, tape down your mouse button, whatever, let it run, and at least it gives you enough power to get a few basic machines going. You could run a basic ore grinder, gold pan, and dust washer off of a crank generator. Get you going. It's at least a great entry into the game. All right, let's talk about the Foundry. Foundry could probably not be a day one build because obviously if you're looking, you see 6 blocks of netherite. So this is something that you're probably mid-game on. Now it does have a good storage capacity. So let's take a look at the Foundry here real quick. So the Foundry stores 138,000 dust. It can also store ingots. Depending on how you do it, it's equivalent to 40 multiple chests. Now here's what most people end up doing is that when they're setting the Foundry up, whoops, sorry, I was looking for my lava bucket. What they'll do is they'll click the cauldron with the lava bucket, and that's not what you want to do. You actually, first, you're going to click on the Foundry to register it, and then you would right click it to put the lava in the superheated furnace, and that will cause the lava appearance in the cauldron. Now the Foundry is compatible with cargo to an extent. You can bring items in, you can't bring items out. So if we try to give ourselves an output node, right? Let's try giving ourselves an output node. If we would try to put it, you'll see it's asking to be filled with lava. So what you can actually do is break the superheated furnace. You could put a chest there, you could put a block, just about any solid block will work. You can put the cargo node on and then take your superheated furnace, superheated furnace, put it back, register it, and then add our lava. And now you'll see the lava is placed in a cauldron by clicking on the furnace. So if I have massive amounts of iron dust coming in through cargo, they'll go right into here. So let's grab a couple of stacks just to show you how this works. So cargo would still bring it in. All right, so now we've set this to iron dust. You can see we've got 256. We can either pull about 1 at a time, 64 at a time. We could also pull out as iron ingots now. So look at that. So it'll automatically convert it. Now, if I want to put them back, I can put them right back as well. Nice little touch that the excess can be put in or removed. So you can see exactly how much is in there and the type that is in. So could I store a second type in here? Let's say 64 tin dust. If we were to try to put 64 tin dust in, it's not going to go in. You can only store one type of item. But again, it gives you the ability to instantly convert dust into ingots. All right, let's move on to the experience dispenser. This is a nice thing. If you happen to have, let's say you've got an experience collector and you're using cargo, you can send that to the experience dispenser. Now I've set mine up with, I've got 100 experience bottles in my dispenser. I have 1,000 stored in the fluffy barrel. When I right click the grindstone, all of that experience is going to go into my bar. So right now I've got 50, actually let's do this. Set XP set boomer 0 levels. Okay. So this will work with all the fluffy barrels but the mini fluffy barrel. You need one of the original 6. But when I right click that, all the XP that was stored, it doesn't grab the 2 here, but it grabs all that was stored and it grabs all that was in a dispenser. So as long as the barrel's facing the open side of the dispenser, it's going to pull all of it, give it back to you in inventory at once, versus you have to sit there and tossing bottle after bottle after bottle for 15 minutes at a time. You got all that instantaneously. I love that thing. All right, now let's talk about the water sprinkler. So first thing I need to do here is turn crop growth back on. So let's see, random tick speed, we'll just set it to 3. And we need a water bucket. Okay, so it does need to be powered. So let's pull up the sprinkler. All right, it does use 16 joules per tick per crop. It has a range of 2 blocks. So if you were to set up a 5x5 with the water sprinkler in the middle, it would cover 24 crops. 24 times 16, you're going to use 384 joules per tick. So 768 joules per second. So you got to make sure you're generating at least that much if you're going to use that for crops. So when I turn this on, you're only going to see the first 2 next to the sprinkler grow. You won't see the outer 2. And all you have to do to turn it on is put a source block water directly below it. If it's powered, here we go. Now, as far as what type of crops, it should work with anything defined as a crop. I have not tested it on netherwort, but it will work on just about any type of vanilla crop that you can think of. All right, moving on to the auto crafting table. So this one is set for vanilla. So let's go ahead and make some glass bottles. We'll go into the auto crafting table. This is where you're going to set your recipe type. So we're going to take our glass bottle. As it said, we're going to shift right click. Target recipe is now set to glass bottle, so if we open it, you can see the glass bottle is in. We're going to set the recipe, and this will work. By the way, all the machines will work with cargo. The question is, if you run out of something and the other ones keep going, is it possible for that recipe to be broken? On some machines, yes. Also, can you use it with unstackable items? The answer, like the ruins on the auto ancient altar, is yes, it will work. All right, so now we need to enable the recipe, and let's pretend we're cargo sending in our glass. And cargo will continue to refill those 3 spots as long as there's room. So as it's running, if you need to make 50 billion glass bottles because you're going to go boomer, you can do it. Then you can just use cargo to pull out the glass bottles and send them to your fluffy storage unit or whatever you happen to be using. So this one works with vanilla recipes only. There's another one that works with Slimefun, and we'll get to that in just a moment. All right, the auto ancient altar. So as I mentioned, you can use even unstackable items in here. So if you're making the water run, for example, you can send water buckets to it, and Fluffy has it coded so that it will continue to run. We're going to do the basic though. Let's just start with the blank run, right? Because that's the beginning of all run workings. So 4 stone, 4 magic lump 1, and the obsidian in the middle. So same thing here. We got to set the recipe first, and then we're going to go our magic runs. We're going to add in our 4 stone. Does need to be powered. Once it is, we enable the recipe. And now, let's see here. I'm going to simply try to set this up. And again, cargo will automatically distribute these as you go. So you don't have to worry about doing this. All right, here we go. So no more right-clicking 8 different pedestals and then a catalyst and waiting 15 seconds, although that can be sped up in a config at least. This gives you the option to automate all of the runs. Really nice. All right, now we're on to the enhanced auto crafting table. You'll notice it's a little bit different. We don't have to shift right click the item we want. We simply need to put in a recipe. So for us today, we're going to make some batteries. So let's go ahead and add the battery recipe in. And I'm just going to put all these in right off the bat just to save a little bit of time here. All right, it is powered. As soon as we enable it, we're not getting batteries. Did I put the recipe in wrong? Nope. Zinc, sulfate, copper, redstone dust. It is powered. Let's just make sure I did put the battery recipe in right. Oh, I put it in backwards. Silly boomer. There we go. My bad. It's early in the morning. Forgive me. My coffee's just kicking in. Anyways, as you can see, this will work with any crafting recipe that's designed to be used in the enhanced crafting table. Okay, moving on. Auto table saw. This is nice, especially if you're a little low on resources in the beginning. Let's pull up the actual recipes first. So let's pull up the table saw. Let's see. Here we go. So the manual version works the same. You take any log, it gives you 8 planks. Really nice, right? It gives you double the plankage. You can take 1 plank and get 4 sticks out of it versus the 2. So it saves you a ton of resources, especially if you're just getting started. Boom. Same thing. Enable, disable. You can turn it off whenever you want. That cannot be controlled externally. You do have to go into the GUI. For any of them that say enable, you have to do it in the GUI. All right, Auto Magic Workbench. Same thing as the anvil over a dispenser. We can automate anything that has to be automated inside of the workbench. So this again is Slimefun recipes only. And we'll turn on the recipe and we're going to automate flasks of knowledge because you need those for a number of runs as well. Now, there currently is no way to autofill flask of knowledge with experience points. That would be something I'd love to see. However, we'll just have to do it by right-clicking because I've got my 57 levels. Moving on, Auto Armor Forge. All right, same thing, just like you've got the anvil. I'm sorry, Magic Workbench, I think I said the recipe wrong. It's the bookshelf, crafter, and dispenser. The anvil is the anvil over a dispenser. My bad. Man, that's 2. One more, and I guess I strike out for the day. All right, same thing here. Turn it on. It's powered. Now we can make slime helmets all day long. And you can cargo all of these items in and out as well. Let's use one of our slime helmets versus a cargo node. I like that. Look a little bit better. All right. Advanced Auto Disenchanter. This is slick. How many of you have decided, you know what, I want to switch my Fortune pick over to a Silk Touch pick and I'm going to rebuild a Fortune 15 or whatever it happens to be. Normally, you can't remove just one enchantment off of a tool. You have to take its all or nothing. Well, here you can remove just one. Now, this is not a normal book. This is an ancient book, and this is a little bit more time consuming in crafting. So we're going to put our pick in. We're going to select which one of these enchants that we want to remove. So I said we're going to remove Fortune because we're going to add Silk Touch to it. We put our book in, and then in about 30 seconds, we are going to have our pick with Efficiency, Mending, Unbreaking. We can put real high Fortune on here, right? Nope, we want Silk Touch on this one. We'll build a different pick with Fortune. Same thing here. If all of a sudden you had dropped in, you know, if you were able to disenchant Efficiency 40 off the World Breaker from Infinity Expansion and you wanted to put it on here, same thing. Pull the 5 off, put the 40 on. Real simple. 2, 1. All right, so now Fortune is off. We can add Silk Touch, and we now have the Fortune 3 book that we can use for a later time. Backpack loaders and unloaders. All right, I love backpacks. One nice thing that Fluffy did is he automatically found out anything that's a backpack will shoot into the proper spot, even if you shift click it in, even if you cargo it in. All right, it'll still automatically go to the right spot. So let's say I want to load my backpack with all this stone because I'm going somewhere. Okay, it'll fill in at a stack of time. Whoops, I put one in the output slot by mistake. That's what you get for shift clicking too much. You can cargo into the backpack loader. you can cargo out of the backpack loader, but you do have to, you're going to have to blacklist anything that comes out. So anything that comes out on this side. So once this is full, let's see, let's get my stuff, 400 stone just in case we don't have enough. Are we completely full yet? Let's see. I do not think we are. We need, oh yeah, this is a double one. All right, so this would need another 3 stacks roughly of stone. So once that's full, it'll come down here. Now, if I want, I can also use the unloader to pull it back out and to cargo items. Once that backpack is empty, right, we can cargo all this out, and then when the backpack is empty, if I remember right, it's going to drop down here. Give it a second to drain out a little bit more. Yep. So now you can pull it out of here. Now, granted, you can't sort backpacks through cargo, because if you do, you can actually break them. So in this case, you're going to have to probably use networks and send that out. Cargo has this issue where it truncates and you end up stacking your own backpacks. Not good if you left anything in there. But you can pull it out anyways and send it to a storage unit. All right, let's move on to the electric dust fabricator. It's exactly what it says. Lets you create dust out of cobblestone. Just like Infinity Expansion has the has their equivalent. Same thing here. We're going to go right from cobblestone directly to dust. It does go 1-to-1 ratio, so 1 cobblestone produces 1 dust. But as you can see, it's not super fast, but it can be cargoed. So you can cargo cobble in, you can cargo the dust out and send it to your storage, to your machines, wherever you need it to go. Electric dust recycler. This is a nice tool to use, especially if you happen to have like silver, tin, zinc. You tend to have a lot of those dust left over. So what this will do is it will take 8 of those dust and turn it back into sifted ore. Then you can run the sifted ore back through your system. So you'll recover 11% back, right? Because you get 11%. So on a sifted ore, it's a 1 in 9 chance of getting the dust. So if you get 6 dust that you need and 3 you don't, okay, 67% of the sifted ore that you get dust out of will come back to you at least. So yes, there is a loss of dust, but I guess it's better than nothing. If you've got thousands of dust lying around that you don't need, why not run it through the recycler? Save a little bit of time and effort back. All right, the advanced charging bench. This is also another really cool tool. This allows you to not only charge items, but speed up the charging. So let's get our guide in. Let's take a look at this. Let's see here. Gotta get all the way back to the menu. So we're kind of deep in the menu here. No, that's Smart Factory. Oh, here we go. All right, so the advanced charging bench can also be upgraded using the ACB upgrade card, advanced charging bench upgrade card. So every time you add a card to it, you increase the speed that it can charge an item by an extra 5 joules. Each card increases the capacity of the machine by 128, but uses 10 joules more for every charge. You can add up to 100 upgrade cards to your charger. And as you can see, the tiers will tell you where it's at. There is a downside, that if you move this, all those upgraded tiers are gone, okay? So just remember that, figure out where you want to place this, because if you go to minus, and sometimes I've done this, you're at tier 100, and then you mine it, you're at tier 0. So just keep that in mind as you're going through. All right, so let's finish up with the last machine of Fluffy we're going to talk about is the Smart Factory. The Smart Factory is one power-hungry machine. It draws 1,024 joules per tick. So you need to be generating a lot of power. But what this allows you to do is take the raw resources of any finalized thing in here, all these ingots, motor, heating coil, and you can instantly craft it using the raw resources. So we think about reinforced alloy ingot and how many smelteries you need to go through, how much crafting has to happen to get to that point. You can drop that into this, set the recipe, and make reinforced alloy ingots if you're producing all this from the raw dust. Now, that's the recipe for 1 ingot. If you were to do it manually, the old-fashioned way here, the sheer amount of time and effort that this saves you is definitely well worth the cost of this. You got 2 crafting motors, right? An Ingot Factory, a carbon press, a smeltery, cargo motors, autocrafters. So it's an expensive machine, but well worth what it's going to save you over time. So we're going to start by producing, we're going to just do a real simple recipe. We're going to do billet ingots. So you take whatever it is that you're going to craft, shift right click. Now the target recipe is set to billet. So we're going to add silver, silver, copper. We're underway. I believe it's 4 seconds, 5 seconds. 5 seconds to craft the material. So if you've got all that, think about it, 5 seconds to make a reinforced alloy ingot. Think about how long it took you to make your first one. Definitely a significant improvement on time and speed. So guys, that is everything that we've covered in fluffy machines. We're going to be looking at new add-ons here very shortly, as well as some that have been in a game for a while. And apparently I have some interesting thing back there. I wonder what it could be. Anyways, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Again, I always appreciate your support and feedback on the channel. As always, when you're playing Slimefun, you gotta go Boomer or you gotta go home. We'll see you later.